All right, just tell me when. Hello. So, I have finally decided to put my ridiculous adventures and schemes and rants onto the internet after the urging of so many different people. My sweet wife, my best friend, pretty much anybody that has stuck around for more than 5 minutes to listen to me rant about all kinds of things. They've all encouraged me to make a YouTube channel. So, let me give you a little background about myself. I'm a registered dietitian. I graduated in 2015 from my undergrad. I completed my internship in 2016, passed the exam in fall of 2016, and began my doctoral program in molecular and cellular nutrition at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. And that has been an adventure. So I'm getting my doctorate in biochemistry. Nutrition sciences technically, but it's really biochemistry because that's what we do. And it has been a really mixed bag. It's been a really mixed bag. It's been mentally challenging. It's put me in a pretty bad state of health sometimes because of the stress. It's been really taxing on pretty much every system of me. And in any case, I'm in my 4th year. I'm about to complete my 8th semester, and I should be done sometime in the next year or two. Something I cannot wait to put behind me. I don't know if I'm going to do anything science-related after it. I do science-related stuff all the time. I'm always experimenting with food, and I'm always experimenting with all kinds of things, like how I do barbecue, really. I control the variables. I employ food science and some of the principles of the chemistry and the biochemistry to try to manipulate the food and achieve a desired result. And it's always fun and it's always interesting. I've recorded a few of those, and I plan on recording a lot more. Upon moving up here to Knoxville, I was pretty isolated. So we work at a big ivory tower. It's not really ivory, it's brick, but it's at the top of this gigantic science complex. And the only people that I interact with is ignorant and impressionable undergrads, like I was, who think that science is really neat, and it can be. Yeah, that's really it. It's professors that are just so lofty. They're just unreachable in terms of ego and intelligence and just intellect and just raw, driven power to never leave the lab. And that ain't me at all. And it has been hard to try to balance the work ethic and the drive that I do have, and like slave drive it into that and produce some data that is just never going to help anybody. In any case, so I was pretty socially isolated, and my friend Chris, he convinced me to try a LARP, and he said, "You know who likes to eat? LARPers." And I said, "Okay, let's try it." So I showed up, and I was completely overwhelmed with all of the weirdos, and they are weirdos. Don't let them fool you. I'm a weirdo too, though, so it's okay. Within, I don't know, an hour of being there, this guy approaches me. He's like, "I need some help in the kitchen." And I'm like, "Oh, thank God. I know exactly what to do." So I get into the kitchen and I work, and we help rescue this meal for like 90 people. And it's just him. It's just him in there. And he's trying to create this meal from a bunch of ingredients that are like, and it's this amalgam of edible protein and carbohydrate slurry. And I'm just like, this is food. People can eat this. Let's try to make it good. And we did. And people loved it. And I fell in love with being needed and being able to do something about it. And so I made the LARP thing a regular thing. And I started going more. And then I started hauling my busted ass Acorn Kamado grill there and back. And I've thought a lot about the Acorn Kamado grill. And the amount of money that you pay for it is pretty good for what you're getting. Because I got something that introduced me into the world of like combustion slow cooking, which is interesting. So but it's charcoal and it's wood chips, and it's neat, and it has a little bit of convective regulation, and it's got a few different things, and it's a really wonderfully versatile piece of equipment. Like if you imagine the scale of equipment versatility, you got the Kamados on this end, and then you got your specialized pits on this end, and each one has their own advantages and disadvantages, each system. Like you're never going to cook 80 pork butts on a Kamado grill, which is kind of what I was trying to do with the LARP. Wasn't 80, but I would batch cook 3 pork butts at a time, because that's as many as I could cram on there with like almost zero airflow between them, right? So I do 3 at a time, and then I would cook ribs and wrap them up in foil and throw this Kamado into the back of my truck, and it'd be strapped down and creaking, and its little legs were under stress, and they were so rusted, and the metal was so weak. In any case, we finally could get there and set it up, and I'd fire it up, and I'd finish the ribs, and I'd warm up the pork butts, and people loved it. They loved it. They loved the food. And so I kept doing it until the Kamado just died. It's dead now. We've tried to rig it back into existence, but I realized really quickly once I started doing like 100+ person events with one, is it an 18-inch diameter? It's not much. 24 inches maybe, Kamado, that there's no way I can possibly make as much food as I would like to make for all these people. So that started me pursuing these fabricators on the internet, and I met a guy that I have a non-disclosure agreement, and I am not going to slander him at all or in any way talk about the quality of his workmanship, any of the ingenuity that he employed to produce a system that is intended to cook food with, and any of the troubleshooting that I have had to come thereafter. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk about any of that, because that would be a breach of the non-disclosure agreement. I designed this fabulous pit in my mind. It was a mobile pit. It had a lot of cooking surface area. It had a warming box, and it had a deep fryer, and a 3-compartment sink with a hand washing sink, and it had a charcoal grill, and it just could do whatever I wanted to do with it. It was going to be able to service as many people as I wanted effectively. And it was going to, most importantly, this was going to take the limiting factor of the equation of me making food for people and them enjoying it. It was going to take the limitation off of the equipment and place it on me, which is what I wanted. And so I managed to haggle with this dude and wheel and deal, and over a course of 8 months and many interesting and disappointing phone conversations later, a little bit of threats of legal action, several threats of legal action, and a very begrudging acquiescence to my requisition, he produced for me a barbecue pit that does technically work. And it has been an absolute journey in my ability to troubleshoot systems of varying complexity and diagnose problems and then find ways to fix them and learn where the break points are. Like, is this worth trying to fix? Is it salvageable or not? And that's, I mean, I guess that's been good for what it is. In any case, the current scheme is the barbecue pit is absolutely good at one thing, which is producing huge volumes of food, and absolutely terrible at another thing, which is meeting public health standards. And it's dangerous as hell. Every single system on it is some version of rigged into a state of begrudging and dangerous operation. And we have reached the bottom of our funding for that. And so we're going to have to figure out a way to generate money with it, which shouldn't be that hard. I just have to stop going to the LARPs so much, because as nice as they are, they don't have the volume that we need to do well enough past the break-even point that we would be able to generate the money necessary to just sustain the operation. So I'm going to shift the focus from the LARPs and put it more onto larger events with the volume, with the traffic, with the sales. And here's the current scheme. I'm so excited and so nervous. So in order to meet the public health regulations here, I'm not going to be able to use the pit to serve from, but we are getting the cheapest, most sufficient, most meets every category that we need RV, and I am going to food truck it. And this is going to be a journey. This is going to be a test of my willpower and ingenuity. And I'm very excited. We're going to purchase this RV, and I'm nervous about it because it's big. It's a big commitment. It's expensive. Even the lowest tier of a used RV is expensive. But it already meets most of the public health requirements just by being an enclosed vehicle. It's a 23-foot Class C motorhome, and it's rated exactly at where my pit is to tow. So I can tow the pit with it, cook the food on it, prepare the food indoors, this is where the public health regulations, and we can go into this more later. Like, I'll discuss it when I'm actually doing the modifications, why I'm doing certain modifications, why I'm doing them one way or another, about distances, like from the hand wash sink to the preparation area, why I organize the workflow a certain way. It's going to be really cool, like, to see this process. And since I am a dietitian, I am actually an expert of food safety and these types of things. I've worked a lot in hospitals, nursing homes, acute care, rehab hospital, a lot of commercial food settings, a lot of restaurant franchises. So I know a good work setup, and I know what I need to be able to do what I want to do. So that's one advantage I have. Yeah, not a waste. I'm going to use it somehow. Guess how much money I have managed to get from people on the internet giving medical nutrition therapy with all of my outstanding and scientific metabolic expertise? Not enough. Guess how much I've sold in barbecue? Probably 10 to 20 fold more. So one of the things that I hope to do here is share some of my expertise just freely, because why not? Because I'm not making money with it, so I might as well just go ahead and put it out there. And if you want to tune in for some of those videos later, hopefully you will. I can get fairly technical, and I plan to go all the way down to the molecular level, then to the cellular level, then to the metabolic level, and then to the organismal level in a lot of my explanations, because that's the area that I study in. My dissertation topic is glycogen homeostasis in skeletal muscles. So that basically is, I wouldn't say the centerpiece, but it's the centerpiece of glucose disposal at an organismal level in things like type 2 diabetes. Your skeletal muscle, that's what does the balancing of blood glucose on the back end. So like the front end is liver dysfunction and pancreatic dysfunction primarily, and in the back end, it's muscle dysfunction for the type of diabetes that most people have, which is type 2 diabetes, or some wacky intermediate. We can get to those too. Some of the videos that I plan on trying to put out is I plan on putting out some vlogs of this F350 chassis 5.4 liter V8 Triton engine single overhead cam 3 valve that shall henceforth be known as the Turtle. We shall be modifying the Turtle, and the Turtle is what we are going to be having our adventures in. So I'm going to be doing vlogs of all of the modifications to the Turtle to get it up to a standard livable stuff, and then forward into the food truck modifications. I'm going to be doing on-site workflow setups, like when we're vending, like how do things flow, where are our resources, what's like a pre-inspection list, what's a pre-flight list, how do we prep for an event, how do we decompress from an event, how do we clean things, all of that stuff. I plan on doing basic nutrition content, which, like what's a carb, what is keto, what is LDL, why is it high, why do we need to eat less salt and less fat, how does salt metabolize, how do the kidneys work, where does glucose come from and where does it go? Well, the answers might surprise you. So I'm going to be doing food science stuff. I love food science. It's really ironic that I planted my flag in biochemistry, because biochemistry is it's not sexy. It's not really exciting. I mean, I think it's very interesting, like to unpack the alien technology that is the machinery of life is worth studying for sure, but does it put food on the table? Not for me. So I might as well spend my time doing something else. But I really do like food science. Food science is where I spend the time that I wish to enjoy on this life. And that would be things like barbecuing, food experimenting. I like barbecue, just food experiments in general, but I like barbecue because it's 50% art and 50% science. It's half and half. You can't make excellent barbecue without equal measures of an understanding of chemistry and physics, as well as artistic intuition and knowing when something isn't right, even though it's not on the right timetable. And those two things, like, that's where the joys and the uncertainty and the conquering of the unknowns to produce the best brisket that they have ever eaten, and they are shocked when they put it in their mouth, and they're just like, what in the hell even is this? And I'm like, I made this for you. And so I know some other videos that I'm going to be doing is like my journey through health. Let's be real for a second. I'm a fat dietitian. I might be a thick, but I also have some thick cholesterol. So I'm going to have to go and basically lose weight. And the way that I do that is with weightlifting. I know that sounds wacky, but I hate cardio so much that I will only do it if there is an actual predator chasing me. And even then, I might fight it. We'd have to just go to that scenario. I'll shoot it and then I'll try to fight it. I hate cardio that much. And so, how do you lose weight and get more healthy? By doing strength training. It's possible. And I'm going to do it, and I'm going to show you guys. And it's very interesting to try to manipulate the human body and try to manipulate the endocrine system more precisely to produce the physiological changes on the back end, trying to figure out a way to configure your inputs and your maintenance cycles. That would be like things like sleep and stress management, and your inputs would be things like food and exercise, the stimuli that you provide, and trying to get a result on the back end that is complicated, that is tricky, and it is way far past don't eat carbs. The don't eat carbs thing, I think, needs to die. Even though I'm a thick, I'm going to show you that you can absolutely eat carbs, even if you're diabetic. I'm going to tell you that it's okay to eat carbs. So that's some of the content that I plan on putting out. I hope you guys stick around and are interested.